Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and we have Stephen Fox of SportsVibesTV joining me tonight for a very special post-game live because something awesome happened. What happened, Foxy? What happened today?
A very, very special win. First of all, prayers out to Julius Randle. Hurt his ankle, so God willing, he's back fast. But we came back from losing, one of our stars for a dramatic win, a team win.
Oh man, yeah. We'll get into the Julius Randle situation. It's a bummer that he twisted his ankle, and it was man, it was a bad situation. He was not even having a good game, and he twisted his ankle.
No, I know.
It was rough, and he's tough. You could tell he didn't want to come out of that game. He was grimacing. It was really painful.
Did you see when he got right past the curtain, man? He looked like he was, he was holding it together. The minute he thought nobody could see him, he like grimaced even more. Like, wow.
Yeah, it didn't look like a mega sprain. Like he didn't like he just kind of like did that and it went right back. He didn't like roll it and like put weight on that, and then because that's when you really screw it up.
Yeah.
So let's hope. I mean, I'm just totally hoping beyond hope that this is like he misses a few games. We took care of business tonight, and he comes back because we need Mr. Julius Randle for this postseason. We need him.
Absolutely. You can't have a guy that's all going for all NBA team and not miss him.
No doubt. And speaking of postseason, that's why this win was so magical. We have solidified our grip, our stronghold on the 5th seed right now. We just beat the Miami Heat, who are on our tail, just like the Nets are as well. We took care of business against a division rival, against a team that has really given us problems in the past. I'm very, very proud of this team, Foxy.
Yeah, me too. It's the type of win, and also I was happy that didn't push Brunson. He came back. He showed a little rust, which is normal, but didn't push him. And I love that we were able to go for the whole fourth quarter with with IQ Grimes, RJ, Josh, and iHeart.
Yeah, he did not. Thibs did not make a substitution in the entire fourth quarter. He was about to. I heard that's what I was listening to when we started the stream earlier. Thibs was talking, and he said he was about to send in Brunson, and then Knicks got a 5-point lead, and then Thibs was like, you know what? Let's see how this goes. Man, was he rewarded for that decision.
Yeah. And we'll be rewarded because, like we said, we want to preserve Brunson for the important, down the stretch. So, what did he play? 30 minutes tonight? He played 30 minutes tonight. So, that's a nice number for his first game back.
Yeah. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into the stats. We're going to break the game down. We're going to talk about the upcoming games. We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, whatever you guys want to talk about. This is a special live post-game Knicks-Verse show with Stephen Fox. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Thank you for joining me, Foxy.
Oh, I love being here. Thank you. Usually it gets a little late for my bedtime, but I'm so amped by this win. I was like, I got to join George and talk to, the Knick fandom who join us. I see Geraldine McIver. How are you?
Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to the chat. Yeah, Geraldine McIver, salute.
You have a super chat?
Reviews, Dylan. Oh, yes, Dylan. We got a super chat here. I met Dylan and his father at the Clippers game. We talked for the game. That's right. Much love, brother. Hope Randle's okay. But great win from our young guys. Go Knicks. It was a great win. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the super chat, Dylan. Salute to you and your dad. You have a great dad. You seem like a great guy, great kid. It was a lot of fun hanging out with Knicks fans at the Clippers game. It's a shame we weren't able to win that game, but we got this game tonight. This was one of those games that we have lost repeatedly over the years. Like a game that could really indicate to us whether this team really is what we kind of have a feeling it could be. You know, a lot of times they kind of show us a little something and then they, you know, they let us down, but not tonight. And this game, I'm sure right now, Pat Riley, wherever he's sitting right now, when he's looking at these two teams and he realizes the Knicks are just a better team up and down. There's no doubt. We just lost. I mean, we just won as we lost our all-star, our only all-star on this team, and we still.
I don't know about that. There's a technicality with Jalen.
It's just the reality. I agree with you. Jalen should have been an all-star, but the facts are the facts. Hey, Miles, what's up?
Sorry, I got a crazy dog. Yo, what are you doing, man?
He's just chilling there. Oh man, what? This is a night to celebrate. Unfortunately, it's a bittersweet celebration because we're all concerned for Julius Randle. We hope that this ankle sprain isn't a major one. That at the most that it takes 2 weeks to recover from, like the average ankle sprain. What was the well, Brunson didn't have a sprain. What was his? He hurt the top of his foot.
Yep.
Right. We don't know. We don't know exactly how the sprain is going to come out because it was a similar thing. He rolled it. So it depends sometimes where the resistance is, where the actual pull happens on the foot. So let's hope that it's not a major one, man, because what we just saw from this team, the bench just took the game over. They just said, no, Heat. You're not going to win this game tonight. We're not going to win this game. And the primary person behind that, Immanuel Quickley. Foxy, I want to hear your feelings about the kind of player that Immanuel Quickley already is right now, and he could become. That's what I'm curious to hear.
It's funny because I was talking to our friend Keith today, and I said that I see so much more development over the next 3 to 5 years for IQ. And it was because I have a new nickname for him. After the last game, he did the press conference with his sunglasses on, so I calling him Hollywood IQ now. He's Hollywood. And you know what? I love it, man. He's showing up in the bright lights of MSG. And what we've all seen is from his freshman year, his first year in the league, to where he is now, that he's gained strength on his defense. You see him on offense. You see that beautiful little midi that he's developed, finishing with both hands. You know, the assists. The game is slowed down to such a level for him that he's feeling it. It's a game. It's a mental game. So he knows from a confidence standpoint. So I see him just going to get better and better and smarter and smarter. He's not only a good player, but what we always talk about is culture. You know, so with JB and, you know, with Josh and he's just a wonderful addition from a culture standpoint. He's a student. He's always in the film room. So that's a guy that you know is going to get better in his motor. That's why the phone was ringing off the hook by quality teams calling the Knicks saying, is Immanuel Quickley available? That's a guy that you know could be an integral piece on a championship caliber roster. You're muted, buddy. Muted. There you go.
Mute myself. You said the magic words at the end. And he could be an instrumental piece. Wait, how did you say?
Integral
Piece on a championship team. Those are the magic words. I see that for him. We started seeing the defense come on last season. We started seeing it, but the shot was inconsistent, and he didn't have the package that he has now. The mid range, the floater was developing last season. It was there, but it wasn't at the efficiency that he has now. Now he doesn't even shoot the floater hardly anymore. He's now doing the turnaround. He's actually shooting the shot now. and he's such a great shooter from 8 feet out, 10 feet out, he's going to make every bucket.
And people don't realize from a forward perspective now with this, the guide hand is there. A lot of times on the floater, you're coming without that guide hand.
Yeah,
exactly. So that the accuracy is gone up, and George and I live on something called cleaning the glass. He's becoming a mid-range assassin, folks.
Mm-hmm.
At the rim, he's an elite class on the short mid-range.
He can score from anywhere.
He can score from anywhere.
He can score from anywhere on the court right now.
Yeah, and will get better.
It will get better. Yeah. Oh my God, that pass that he made from the right corner, it was like caught right there. He swung it to
Grimes.
Grimes
for the 3.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Magic. That was magic. That was a Magic Johnson.
And what about
type pass?
Oh no, that was Grimes who hit iHeart as the shot clock was running out.
Yeah, it was like Grimes had an excellent game. We're going to get down to it. Just want to shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Lex the Destroyer, the best mod around. Thank you so much.
Legendary.
IQ is him. 6th man of the year for sure. Absolutely. IQ is him. 6th man of the year. I see it. There's no doubt. I don't even think it's a competition at all. And Jose Castillo says, I see a lot of Brunson in IQ. Yes.
His footwork especially has been impacted.
That's the beauty of having an IQ on this team. He doesn't just sit there and work on his own thing. He watches what's working for other people. And he's like, wait, maybe I can incorporate that into my game. And then not only Deuce does it too. And then he incorporates it, and then he puts his own spin on it. Now, you notice that Brunson is able to make that move, that little hezzy, the fake, and then lean under the defender to make the layup. IQ doesn't do that as often because he doesn't have necessarily the width to create the space, but he's learning. He's learning how he can do it. It's just I feel like a proud father. Apologies to my own son. But IQ is my son. The way he's been playing, I am so proud, man. Because I started this channel because I was like annoyed that IQ was just sitting up. We got this incredible shooting rookie. He's just sitting on the bench behind Elfrid Payton. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, he showed a turnaround little jumper just like Brunson. He had that turnaround little midi that was sweet.
Yeah. And I love the way he has now. He's almost like he's shooting it kind of like from a side when he shoots that 3-point shot when he curls around the screen, because he knows he doesn't necessarily always have enough time to plant both feet squared up to get the shot off. And it was bothering me in the middle of the season when he was missing those. He's totally corrected it. Now he's making those. He's not squaring up, and then when he squares up, he makes those as well. But now he's perfected that ability to curl. Usually he does it with iHeart or
it's a rhythm thing.
It's a rhythm thing. Yes, exactly, and he's releasing it perfectly. Immanuel Quickley is, and I've already said it. People have been coming after me for years about this, but I think he could be a top 10 point guard in this game. I know people still argue with me about it, but I just don't see how it's even an argument anymore.
You and I both like 538 Raptor, and they have a lot of different functions on that website, and one of them is player projections. And they're absolutely, with their algorithms and looking at past database of past players, they're projecting him to be an all-star, folks.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They're a future all-star.
Future all-star, absolutely.
Yeah. Drew. Yes, Grimes was instrumental in that first quarter to keep us alive because we could have been blown out of this game right away.
No minutes in the second quarter. Go Tibbs.
Yeah, that's Mr. Tibbs. They call him Mr. Tibbs for a reason.
Exactly.
Let's look at the stats here. Let's get into it. Here we go. All right. The New York Knicks tonight took care of business. They defeated the Miami Heat 101-92. They held the Heat to under 100 points, and they barely cracked the century mark themselves. And they had to do it without the services of Julius Randle in the entire second half. And he left towards the end of the first half. And he wasn't even having a good game. He was a 1 of 5. He was dribbling the ball off his feet, losing it here and there, watching the offensive players blow right past him. So it was a weird game for Randle. But I thought, you know what? Maybe he'll get it together for the second half. But he never had a chance because he sprained his ankle. We're hoping it's not that bad, but we're waiting to hear. And he probably will miss at least the remainder of this season. What do you think about that, Foxy?
I think you're right on target in terms of, historical ankle sprains like that. I'm sure that thing's in ice or he's in a cryo tank already for that ankle, and hopefully the MRI or test that there's no hairline fractures. You could literally fracture that ankle the way he turned that real quick. When you have 230 pounds of, kinetic energy like that, anything could happen. So let's just think for the positives, having a great season. Let's, let him get healthy. And this is an opportunity for Star J to, really show his worth. He came through in the fourth quarter, RJ. And he had 5 points in that fourth quarter out of his 12 for the game. And it was just, but Josh and Grimes in that fourth quarter, so RJ, Grimes, and Josh, man, took it home for us.
They did. And RJ gave us 11 points in the second half. He only had one point in the first half. He didn't even make a bucket until that little scoop, underhand scoop, which was beautiful, which was probably one of the most difficult shots he had.
I was about to say he made it, one of his first passes. It was a really difficult shot to make.
It's crazy. But RJ did finish with 12 points, was a -1, hit 2 of 6 from the 3-point line. His last 3-point make was a big 3-pointer that he made.
Huge.
Look, this team had no business winning this game. Let's just be frank. All right, we come out 8-0 start, looking good, but then there was a turnover here, a turnover there. And then the Heat go on a 14-0 run. So they take the lead 14-8. And by that point, every single Knicks starter had committed a turnover. And nobody was scoring except for Grimes. So you're right. It is kind of odd that he didn't play at all in the second quarter, but he did end up playing 36
minutes, I know.
Yep. 5 of 10 for the 3-point line. I like this aggression. I like that finally, I think, I don't remember who said it, but it was somebody I was listening to, whether it was, I think it might have been Tim Legler and JJ Redick. If you guys haven't heard their discussion, they talked about the Knicks for a good 10 to 15 minutes on the most recent Old Man in the 3 broadcast. And Tim Legler, they talked about it, and they were discussing Grimes, him being a key, and him having to become more aggressive and not always looking to just swing the ball. Be the guy who finally holds the ball and makes a decision of what the actual final action of that offensive possession is going to be. And we saw a lot of that tonight. And I love the way he mixed it up between shooting the 3 right away, or doing a little step back, a little off the dribble, or taking it to the hole. Where often we would see him, he'd grab it and just go right to the hole. This time he was balancing it out, because it makes the decision making for the defense a lot more difficult when you have a balanced approach like that. I'm really impressed by Grimes' game recently.
Yeah, the way he attacks closeouts, like you said, I like, a lot of times he goes up in the air and he kicks it out, that he doesn't go to the hole. He went to the hole. I like that. I want him to go more to the hole. And next year, now's not the time, but next year, when he attacks that close-up, we want to see a few more middies next year. That'll really expand his game. But one of the key statistics, folks, George and I always look at stats. We're 31-3 now when we hold our opponents under 110 points.
That's an amazing stat. Grimes also gave us some rebounding, 8 boards, 4 dimes, and he got a nice steal. So even though he did commit 2 turnovers, but he all around fantastic game for him, 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 dimes. But the star of this game was Immanuel Quickley. He follows up his 40-point effort the other night with 57.1% shooting overall, 40% shooting from behind the arc. The free throw shooting, for some reason, the entire team was just atrocious today. I don't know what the hell happened to them.
Thank God for both teams.
Yeah, both teams. But still, we shot 12 of 23. That was crazy. But quickly, then he ended up 4 dimes, 3 steals, 3 big steals for him, and finished 24 points for a plus 14 for Immanuel quickly. Excellent game for him. Excellent game for him, especially since Brunson still didn't look like the Brunson we know. It was great to see him out there playing. He ended up playing 30 minutes himself. Give us 12 points, was a plus 9. But you could see he hasn't been the same guy that we know. And he struggled again today to some extent, but that could just be a little bit of rust.
Total.
Because I didn't see him, babying the hand or anything. Did you?
No, I didn't. But there's always players, sometimes they don't have to be stars. They just play well. And Gabe Vincent seems to play well against Brunson.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Gabe, he's a scrappy player. I like Gabe Vincent.
No doubt.
I like him a lot. The Knicks ended up shooting 50% overall from the field, and they shot almost 42% from the 3-point line. So
ding,
our
ding,
shooting,
ding.
yeah, it was just great because it was not looking good in that first quarter, not looking good at all. The Knicks were able to let's see. So the first quarter, the Knicks only scored 19 points, but they recovered in the second quarter nicely, mostly due to the bench coming in, and they won the second quarter 29-23. To go into the half up 48-46, but then we lost the third quarter. We allowed the Heat to score 30 points on us in the third quarter, and that's when I was a little bit nervous. But then the defense of that bench unit just clamped. It was making the Heat nervous. They didn't know what to do. Often they were just kept passing the ball. And at one point, Clyde was making fun of them. They're like, oh, they're overpassing, and ended up with a 3-point shot, a make in the corner. But as the game went on, they kind of kept doing that. They just did not. They just don't really have an offense.
Yeah, and I think it worked to our favor. They played last night too.
And they played last night. But
although,
it's amazing that they've won 40 games.
Although Jimmy Butler didn't play last night.
That's right. Jimmy Butler didn't play last night. He played tonight. And what did Jimmy Butler do? Let's see.
Nothing, man.
Butler.
12 points.
12 points. 5 of 10 overall. Didn't even take a 3-point shot. Got only 3 rebounds.
-8.
-8. Did get 6 assists. But that is not a sexy stat line right there.
Not for a guy that's supposed to be one of your stars.
Yep.
And the same thing for Bam.
Yeah, Bam as well. Bam came through with a whopping 9 points. Not even double digits. Did get 11 rebounds. But look at the offensive rebounding for them. I mean, Cody Zeller got 3 for them, but really it was Jimmy Butler got 2, but he only ended up with 3 total rebounds. The rebounding battle was all Knicks. All Knicks right here.
We were everything from the paint points in the paint, second chance points, fast break points.
Right there. That's right. Knicks second chance points 12-4, fast break points 14-9, points in the paint 44-28. There were a lot of lead changes, 24 in total in this game. Crazy. The biggest lead was 11 for the Knicks, and the biggest lead for the Heat was 10. There were 14 ties. Wild.
Normal Miami Knicks game.
Yeah. This is a wake-up call for the Heat. Remember, the Knicks did not have Julius Randle for the entire second half when this game was hanging in the balance. In fact, the Heat tied the game by the end of the third quarter. So it came down to one final quarter where the Knicks were not going to have their one of their 2 best players available. And their other best player didn't even play. So think about that. The 2 best players on the Knicks did not play this entire fourth quarter, and the Knicks wiped their ass with the Miami Heat.
Not only that, I would have lost a lot of money if you said Randle went out. We didn't play Brunson, and also we didn't play, Obi either.
Oh, well. Obi had a nice recovery. He wasn't showing this much in that first half, but he had a nice recovery.
Assists.
Yeah. Let's see what his how did he end up? Obi ended up 4 assists for Obadiah Toppin.
Yeah,
Nice.
I noticed that. Yeah.
4 assists, only 6 points, 2 big 3-point shots. The second one was pretty big that he hit. 2 of 4, 17 minutes. He played some quality defense. I thought RJ actually played some quality defense as well. even though he did get burned backdoor once by Jimmy Butler actually at the close of the half. I believe he got burned on that. But other than that, he was closing out hard on Tyler Hero. He was closing out hard on Jimmy Butler, chasing him off that three-point line, even though Jimmy Butler's not a three-point shooter. But then he was keeping up with him. I thought he did a good job defensively. He has been doing a decent job since the All-Star break. But we need more than decent. But at least we're at decent now. So it's a positive.
We got the win, so he was doing something okay.
Yeah. I mean, the highest score for the Heat was Gabe Vincent tonight. The undrafted Gabe Vincent. That is wild to think about. But he shot 72.7%, 80% of his three-point shots. Wow. 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was annoying. Duncan Robinson was annoying too for a while. 12 points, but look how he ended up. -11.
Well, that's always been his thing, is he gives it and he take it.
Yeah. Give it and take it. Give it and take it. Let's check out the chat. What's going on here? Drew Reviews says, do you think there's something going on between Obi and Thibs? Why was he benched the whole fourth quarter, it seemed?
Lack of trust? On the defensive side, meaning?
I think yes, he definitely has a lack of trust with Obi in general on the defensive side. But I think it was that unit that was out there was working. So Thibs was thinking, you know what? This game is too important. I don't have Randle. I can always put Brunson back in, like if things get a little close. But once, like we missed the beginning of the show, I saw the Thibs post game, at least part of it, and he said once it got to the 5-minute, once the Knicks got a 5-point lead in that fourth quarter, he was about to put Brunson back in, but then they got the 5-point lead, and he thought, let's see what happens, and the Knicks were actually able to extend that lead. Open it up a little more. So at that point, it becomes difficult. Like, when do you make that move? Because many times we've seen Thibs make that kind of template knee-jerk substitution, and it backfires. And shout out to Tom Thibodeau. Big shout out to Tom Thibodeau for not doing that, for changing his approach. I would have thought he definitely would have put Brunson back in this game. So it's a huge... To me, it's a huge indicator that Thibs is adopting a win by any means mentality, which you would have thought he would have already had that, but this is different. He's willing to take some risks now, and I'm loving that. I'm loving his ability to be able to shift in the game itself, because I would have thought he definitely would have put Brunson in, especially without Randle available.
Well, great depth on a roster makes a great coach. So he gives him a whole lot of leverage. And besides having, versus a couple of years ago with Elfrid Payton, etc., there's an extension of executing a coach's strategy. So if Brunson's not there, you got Josh Hart. And now you have IQ, and now you have Grimes. You have these, guys that are seeing the floor really well, and they're just being selfless. They're making that one extra pass, which is huge.
Yeah. It's. I was nervous though watching this game, to be honest with you, because we needed it badly.
Well, we needed badly, but it was like we said, it's the lunchbox crew on that second team that do that. It wasn't, I thought Mitch, other than one block, really had no impact. He looked like he was laboring getting up the court. I don't know if he has a leg issue or whatever, but
he had some big blocks in that first quarter.
Only in one block, I thought, in the whole game.
Yeah, he always that happens all the time. He doesn't get a credit for another block or like a deflection or something. Like the last game, he had like 5 of them. He only got credit for 3. But tonight, but you know what? His
Ihart, I think, gives a different energy to this team than Mitch. And those passes that we're seeing now, his chemistry with Josh, his chemistry with Cutters. Hey, we've talked about it for a while for this team to have, be out of the box on their offensive scheme and to have Ihart up at that pinch post or getting guys cutting to the basket, whether a Grimes or a Josh Hart. It gives everything. Now, if they have to worry about that, it changes everything. And then you open up, it gives you spacing because they're worried that, hey, if I play them too close, they're going to cut to the basket. So now you can get threes, everything.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But Josh Hart also in that first half, he did struggle a little bit. He had a fast break, a 2-on-1 fast break.
That happens though.
He looked at Brunson.
Yeah.
But it was like the whole team was making mistakes. Like
exactly.
That. And that it's amazing that the Knicks were able to hang on and win this game when you consider all the mistakes that they made in that first half. But then when Mitch got that monster block on Jimmy Butler with just seconds left in the first half, that was a big statement from the Knicks themselves to the Heat. It's like there's not going to be anything easy inside. And they didn't let Bam get going. Bam only got 9 points.
Yeah.
We're talking about someone who's often considered an all-NBA level type player.
And likes to cook the Knicks usually.
Yeah, and he did. He's hurt us in the past. So it was tremendous that the Knicks went into the half leading 48-46. And that's with RJ giving you 1 point in that first half. But then he came out. He was aggressive. He finally made that scoop bucket, and then he hit a three. But
he made a nice defensive play, too.
Yeah. Oh, the one on Butler?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came from behind him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play. He's not quitting on the play anymore, on the defensive effort.
Well, he knows Tibbs won't think twice about benching him and using Hart, like we said, that depth of IQ Grimes, so that he has a little fire under his butt.
He has to,
which is great.
Yeah, I mean it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
some of the things he's been doing, it's unacceptable. RJ hit that big corner three to give the Knicks the lead 100-89 with 2:05 left, and that was pretty much the end of the game. That was it. And as you pointed out, the closing lineup in the entire fourth quarter lineup was IQ, Grimes, Josh Hart, Hartenstein, and RJ. I once said, don't be surprised if IQ closes games over Brunson. I was laughed at. I was mocked. And tonight, we saw it happen. And believe me, this may not be the last time.
Well, that and also with the way IQ's playing and the way we want to lock him up for the future, I'd start him from this point on. I don't mean anything. I love Grimes, but I'd absolutely put we want to keep IQ happy.
Yeah.
So he should, if his vision for his future is to be a starter, then let's make his vision come true. Let's lock him up and let's make him part of this team going forward and let him be our starting two. We're not giving up anything on defense. He's a great secondary playmaker next to Brunson. They have good chemistry, so it's a win-win. Let's keep and Grimes is a team guy. He won't be saying nothing if he comes off the second team.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put this poll in the chat. Should Thibs start Grimes? Quickley instead of Grimes.
And do it now, going into the playoffs, man.
For the remainder of the year.
Shout out to Stanley Mann. Hope all is well, Stanley. Dank Tanks. Hope all right,
I'm asking you guys, I'm asking the chat, should Thibs start Quickley instead of Grimes for the remainder of the year? I'm curious to see how this goes. Because I could, obviously, I've argued for Quickley to start many times, and I totally see the rationale behind having him start, but I also see the rationale of having a guaranteed injection of high-quality play as the first man off the bench. He's just so consistent now and just coming in immediately and sparking that unit. even if he's coming in replacing RJ as the first guy off the bench and he's playing with the starters, and then Thibs filters in some of the other bench unit players. There is a lot to be said for maintaining that consistency. However, as we move forward into the playoffs, you're going to be playing very good teams, and you cannot be going down 10 points in that first quarter against very good teams. So that's the other argument for, hey, let's just have our 5 best out on the court right now, right away. And then the first guy off the bench would be Hart. And he might be Hart with Grimes. So then you might sub out. What you would do is at that point, this is the way I would see it, Foxy, and you tell me what you think. You start IQ over Grimes, and then around the 5-minute mark, with 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter, depending how the game flow is, you sub out Brunson and RJ for Josh Hart and Grimes.
Yep.
And then you can bring back Brunson if you need that point guard type. You need someone to lead that second unit, and IQ, you want to preserve him a little bit. Then you start the second quarter with Brunson as the point guard, and then you bring in IQ back in later on, so that you'd always have at least one of them on the court. But I love both of them together. I love, you saw today actually for a big stretch of time, especially in that third quarter, it was IQ out there running the show, and Brunson was the 2.
And I'd have no problem us closing out a quarter the last couple of minutes with Deuce at the point on that second team.
Yeah. Lex. That's what I was just trying to explain. It could be Deuce, but it doesn't have to be Deuce. It still would be. It's like, instead of what Thibs has been doing with RJ and Randle, we do it with Brunson and IQ as well. In terms of, so they start together, take one out earlier, let them rest, get a little bit of rest, and then you switch them, and one of the 2 are handling the second unit. It could be IQ that goes out first. It could be that way, and you let Brunson play the whole first half.
And I don't know if some people
first quarter and a half.
And I don't know if some people realized it, but Grimes has played a little point guard in the last few games.
Yeah, and Grimes, yes. Actually, that's one of the things he's been that's made him so deadly.
Yeah. So, and also Josh Hart has great playmaking, court vision and playmaking skills. So, we're not worried on that second team, that ball moving. That's for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Stanley, man. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Thibs needs to use Obi more in the post. Yeah. I think
he needs a little, Stanley, he needs to get post moves before you can put him in the post.
We saw a little something today.
A little something, very little.
Very little. Yeah, we saw a little teeny something. Stanley Man says, I bench RJ and start IQ with Grimes. The reason I wouldn't do it is size.
And confidence.
Yeah. You want to keep RJ still feeling great, because look what he can do. Look, at any given moment, he can rattle off 5-10 points. And that's something you don't want to mess with his confidence. And I think Grimes would be able to deal with that. It's not necessarily technically a demotion. It just, it is technically a demotion. That actually is technically a demotion, but it's not like a big demotion. He still would be the first or second person to come off the bench. He probably would play the same amount of minutes.
Yeah, but his comments when Josh Hart was traded here and his minutes, he talked about the team first, and I think he'd react the same way. Like, hey, I'm playing in the NBA. I'm getting burned. I'm an important part of this team, and yeah, in a perfect world, I'd love to be starting, but this guy IQ is lighting it up. I got to be realistic that this guy is better than me.
Minus the Trill says no, Grimes is coming into his own. No, Grimes is coming into his own, and we need both in their current roles next year. Yes, okay. All right, so we're getting right now it's the poll, not that many votes, but it's 62 to 38. Do not start Quickley instead of Grimes. Interesting.
My only thing was because of his comments about the contract, in that his vision is he wants to be start. He doesn't think of himself coming off the bench. We want IQ happy, man. We don't want him saying no, thank you. I want to go to another, trade me to another team where I could start.
Yeah,
You don't want to get into that drama.
yeah. I've been hearing other people talk about it. I've avoided that discussion.
You got to make him happy, man.
What do you think, Foxy? Do you think
Start him at the 2?
do you think there's a chance that IQ asks to leave in the offseason?
I don't know about ask to leave, but I think he's going to ask for 20. He's basically going to ask. It's a weird thing. Timing is everything, but we talked about 538 in their player projection. The contract that RJ got is the contract they said IQ should be getting. So
They might still get.
Hopefully, but basically, the way around the market and looking around, there's not a, George and I are really into the draft. There's not a player in the draft that have the impact of IQ. And if they do, it'll take them 2 years.
There wasn't one last year either.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. There's a couple, obviously, Paolo and a couple that are playing at a high level, but not on both sides of the ball. You look at plus minus, there's very few players in the whole freaking league that are in IQ's level of, the positivity that he brings a team. So I would absolutely, have IQ as that starting 2 on this team.
Yeah. I mean, he's earned it. Let's put it that way. He's totally earned it.
Yeah. And like we said, we only think of him he's gotten better every year he's worked on his craft. And we love players that, put the hours in and, they're gym rats. They're in the, that's why Tibbs loves them. And we could just see him just getting better, more savvy, bringing out new arsenal moves, stealing stuff from Brunson, etc.
No, and not only that, the way he is analyzing weaknesses of the opponent right now. He said he watches so much film and he sees their tendencies and then he finds the spaces on the floor where he can thrive. And he's delivering on that. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see from all of the Knicks. I want to see that from RJ. I want to see that from Grimes. I want to see that from Obi. I want to see that from everybody. That's the kind of stuff that everyone should be doing. But currently, Quickley's doing it, and he's doing it at such a level right now. I'm not surprised, obviously, because I saw this in him, but it's so rewarding to finally see it actually come to fruition.
And know there's a lot more to go. That's even more exciting.
There's a lot more. Hey, look, I know we kind of like, in general, as fans, we get caught up with certain things about people's games and stuff, and we see a guy who hits a 30-foot shot, 32-foot shot, and we think, oh wow, he's got that range. But IQ actually is in that group, that Dame, Curry type group of that kind of range. He doesn't have the consistency yet, but he has the range, and then he has the ability to go inside and just put people into the spin cycle and come away with a beautiful turnaround jumper, mid-ranger, and then he also has the ability to finish now. So he's all 3 levels, which is what Dame and Curry also have. So if IQ can be more consistent with the deep ball, and his deep ball, a lot of times it is 2-3 feet beyond the arc. And that's really important because as guys are closing out, you have that. If you're right up against 3-point line and a 6'9" guy is closing out on you, it's definitely going to disrupt your shot. But if you're set up 3 feet behind the 3-point line and a 6'9" is trying to rotate back over to you, that's an extra 36 inches of separation that you have.
Yep.
And that's the difference between
you get your shot off and going through your mechanics and not rushing them.
Bingo. And no one else. Grimes, I feel like he kind of also could have that kind of range. I've seen him make a 30-footer or 28-footer here and there, but he hasn't shown us that enough. But
he's going to be more like Clay, hitting threes. He's not going to be logos like Curry. So IQ will be the Curry and Grimes will be our Clay.
Yeah. All right. Hey, shout out to the chat. We got 120 in the chat. Let's also hit that thumbs up button for us. We really appreciate this, and share this video with whoever that loves the Knicks, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Really appreciate all the support here. Let's see. Viva tu vida para ti. Live your life for yourself. That's what that means in Spanish. RJ is a question mark. He's been disappointing lately. Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. He's been disappointing the entire season. Let's just be perfectly honest. What we're seeing from Quickley is what we were hoping we'd get from RJ.
And I think Tibbs touched on it a couple of press conferences ago. He just needs to be aggressive, get to that rim, and if they converge, he got to kick it out. I think he only had 1 assist today.
Today he only had 1 assist, but he wasn't put in positions where he could.
No, he had 0 assists. In fact,
0. Yeah. But it wasn't that kind of. You could see it wasn't that kind of game for him. He passed it out. No one was hitting.
That's true. We were hitting kind of, meaning we shot pretty well from 3 and stuff today.
We scored 19 points in that first quarter, Foxy.
Who, us?
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
That unit, the first unit that RJ was out there with, was doing nothing.
That's true,
except for Grimes.
We couldn't even. I think we were 0 for 6 on foul shots to start the game.
Yes, we were 0 for 6 from the free throw line. Terrell White, what's up, brother? He says, "Enjoy this, G. You have been talking quick up from day 0. Real talk. Should have started him last season. We didn't need Brunson."
No, Facts. Don't say that.
Facts. I'm ecstatic we have Brunson, but it's just the reality is if we had given Quickley this opportunity last season, who knows how things might have gone. But sometimes things work out the way they're supposed to work out, and having the 2 of them together could end up being just start thinking about this. When the 2 of them are out there together and Brunson is, back 100% healthy. Let's just play this out. Let's assume 2 weeks from now, when the playoffs begin, Brunson is fully healthy. And now we got this version of IQ. When things get a little bit dicey, you put those 2 out there on the court together with any number of other guys, whether it's Hartenstein, Randle, RJ, Grimes, Obi. Won't matter. You got those 2 guys out there who know how to break down any defense there is. That's going to be very tough to deal with for an opponent. Very tough to deal with.
Because we know what's coming, folks. The playoff, they're going to go on a double Randle. God willing, he'll be back. They're going to throw length at Jalen Brunson, and they're going to pack the paint and make us shoot from 3. So that's why Quickley, and if they, and you saw today, trapping Brunson and stuff like that. So for him to have another guard like an IQ, and also the reality, Brunson's great and everything, but he's not a guy like Halliburton that blinks and he has 10 assists. So having a secondary playmaker next to Brunson like IQ, it's a win-win, man.
Yes. They're beautifully said. Stanley says RJ is never going to be more than a marginal, inefficient player. And I'm sure Foxy agrees with you.
No, I don't. I think he's going to get smarter. I think he'll get more efficient. He's not going to jump higher. He's not going to be quicker, but he'll be more intelligent. I think of, hey, he's a midi game away from being the best he can be. So when he's blink away from 100 blocks this year. I'll block.
That's beautifully said.
100.
I thought you were going to go the other way with this.
100 blocks last year. I think he's going to realize he's going to have to not take that extra dribble into the land of the Giants and pull up and hit a midi. My issue is I think he's hitting his ceiling on defense, and that's my biggest concern. That if you look at the numbers, we're still 10.8 points better with him off the court than on the court.
Yeah. But he's since the All-Star, okay, I love everything you said. I totally agree with everything we're saying there. Especially, I actually think it's funny that you pointed this out, Stanley, of the inefficiency. I actually think he's going to become a more efficient player
Me too.
over time for the reasons that Foxy said. For one, he's a student of the game. He wants to get better. He's still only 22. You know, I know we've been watching him for 4 years, so for us, we feel like, yeah, he's old, but he's not. He's still babyish. He will learn. I believe that he will make better decisions, that his decision making will improve over time. And that means when he chooses to shoot and when he chooses to pass, when he chooses to drive, when he chooses to just take the shot or just chooses to pass. I believe he'll make, and we've already seen an improvement in that decision making. The problem is that we have also seen him relapse and have stretches where he makes terrible decisions. Like this was a game of it. Tonight was that kind of game. He was just driving in. He wasn't even shooting the ball. There's a big difference. As someone who had to struggle to get his shot off because I don't have much size myself personally, when I would do all the work to just find that little seam, I made sure, all I made sure at the last second is I got to make this fucking bucket. You know, find the angle, bang, hit the backboard just right, or sometimes it's just a little flick, little floater, whatever it is. I see it from RJ sometimes, that focus and concentration. Tonight, I didn't see it in the first quarter. He was just getting in there, muscling, putting it up, thinking he was going to get the foul call. It didn't happen. He was 0 for 6, like within a blink of an eye. I think that's where he's going to improve. And he already has this season. He's improved tremendously on his finishing over the previous 2 seasons. And then, as you were mentioning, I think that he will you were saying that you're worried about his defense. I
don't think he's near his ceiling on offense, but I think he's near his ceiling. He's at his ceiling on defense.
All right. Well, that's where we disagree. That's where I'm hoping you're wrong.
Me too. I think if he loses 10 pounds, it'll be a lot better.
Yes. And I think he's going to try whatever he needs to try in the offseason.
He needs to lose a little weight, I think.
Yeah. He needs to lose a little bit of weight. The thing is, though, the way that Thibs uses him, he kind of needs that weight, because the way Thibs uses him is like, other than just sit out by the corner and it's just drive all the way to the basket, and you need that extra strength. But the problem is,
but at a point of attack, he's getting lit up. They just blow past him, and he's always coming. You see him; he's always trailing on, coming around a screen. He doesn't know how to get skinny, as they say, getting around screens.
Yes, he doesn't. Right, to slip through. He doesn't know how to, like, you watch Kawhi. Kawhi knows how to slip through these little seams. Like, RJ's still struggling. His handle's not quite there. He doesn't have the giant mitt that Kawhi has, but
I think
if RJ improves that handle in the offseason, and he develops a quicker decision-making process in terms of when to continue to the hole and when to step back for that 8-footer, because we've seen him make it when he actually shoots it, when he actually focuses and shoots it. But when he drives in and he just kind of gives up on it and just chucks it, that's a ridiculous play. I hate that play. So he cuts that stuff out. He can become a more efficient player. But defensively, I feel like he needs to shed, what were you saying, 10 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever it is. He needs to get a little more flexible. So
that's the great point. Flexible. He needs to get down in his stance. He's too upright. And with him not being a twitch athlete, a twitch muscle guy, he's set up for failure. You know, he's challenged. If he's standing up, they're going to blow past him. He has to get lower. He has to be lighter, and he has to be, he's a dog. Not all dogs bark, but I just, we're seeing.
You hear the dogs barking here?
Yeah, I do. To let that dog out. But
and what Foxy's talking about, when he's, in case you're not familiar with the twitch, you see the twitch. Hart has that twitch. Josh Hart. IQ has developed that twitch.
Yeah, but actually, Josh Hart does have problem with quicker players.
He does, but he has the twitch. He can quickly
Quickley absolutely has it.
Oh my God! Sometimes Quickley my neighbor's yelling at his dogs now. Sometimes Quickley has the ability to guard 3 players within 3 seconds
Possession.
in a possession. It's insane what he's doing. And that's just something that RJ just sits down, watches the tape on that, watches DeMar that's all he's got to do. Work on that. Find out what it is, where can you thrive on the court, and then just feast there. I think he can do it. I think he can do it, Stanley. Don't give up on RJ yet. Don't give up on RJ just yet. And he might surprise. Look, he surprises us in the second half. He had a terrible first half, 1 point. In the second half, he was instrumental in keeping us around in this game until we finally created some airspace between us and the Heat.
And the Heat needed that game, folks. So for us to win this game without Randle, with Brunson only playing 30 minutes, Obi not playing much, in replacing Randle, that says a lot for this team. Because how many games did we hear the last year and stuff like the other team, they wanted it more? Nah, we wanted it more tonight. We protected our home turf.
Yeah. We were hearing it earlier this season.
Yeah,
the other team wanted it more. We haven't heard that in a long time.
Since Josh got here.
Pretty much. Sometimes that's what it takes, man. It takes a guy like him to come in. He's limited. Let's not all get all crazy about Josh Hart. He's limited. His game is limited. If it wasn't, he'd be an all-star by now with the amount of effort that he puts out on the court. But he's limited in terms of his offensive game. Defensively, he's not limited on any other way except for just his size. If he was 3 inches taller, he'd be an all-NBA, all defensive NBA player, I think, in my opinion. It feels like at this point.
I don't know of too many people 6'6" that are a better rebounder in this league. Yeah, I know. 6'6" or less.
We saw him standing next to Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, Duncan's bigger. Yeah,
Duncan's 6'7", and it was a good 3 inches. Hart was a good 3 inches shorter. So you hear Clyde sometimes say he's 6'6", 6'5", whatever. But when I saw him standing next to Duncan Robinson, I was like, he's actually 6'4". But he's got some nice hops. He's very athletic, strong,
and IQ off the chart.
Oh, yeah. Is basketball IQ? Yeah, fantastic.
Hey, he made a touch pass. He made a touch pass today, folks, for where he knew that if he caught the ball and passed it, we would have probably had a 24-second clock. The only thing that he could do was touch past it, and for the three-pointer that went in for IQ, and it was like, I love this guy, man. There's certain things he does that you don't see in a box score, but whoa, what an IQ on this guy.
Tremendous. And what I love about him is he never gives up. He never looks defeated. He always feels like I'm gonna get some on his next play. Every single play. That's what when you say dog, that's what to me, that's what that means, dog. Doesn't matter what it just has happened. All right, I'm here again. This play.
I keep going back to
my neighbor is having an argument with his dog. Okay, so I have an 80-something-year-old neighbor. His name is Gary. He's from Nebraska, and when I first moved here, he was telling me all this crazy shit about Hillary Clinton and all this stuff. I was like, Gary, where do you hear this stuff? It's like, Fox News. It's like, Fox? That's not news. So, but I love him. I always have to look out for him and everything. But there's been times where I've had to literally save his life, pull his dogs off of him. So that's why I have to keep an ear out because I don't want anything crazy to happen next door. His 2 huskies have murdered cats and stuff, and I've literally had to go
jeepers.
Help. Yeah, so it's calmed down now. Okay, all right.
Elderly neighbor eaten by his dogs.
Death and disaster seems to be averted right now.
Anybody belong to this year?
Life in LA.
Yeah.
Foxy, the Knicks have won 44 games.
Yeah. And if you think about it, it's really impressive if you think about the amount of games Brunson was out, amount of games RJ was out with the finger, the amount of games Mitch was out. So there was, different times this year where we would miss key players, and the guys just kept it together. And then we saw the young guys just developing. Hey, you have to. I don't care anybody, man. Grimes, we've seen development. IQ, we've seen development. So the only player that I wish I saw more development was RJ.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have I mean, yeah, I agree with you. And Obi as well.
Well, Obi, as crazy as it sounds, he
Obi's
doesn't
in
get
a
the
tough
minute.
spot.
He's in a very tough spot. It's a game of rhythm. And if you throw a guy only 10 minutes or so, and also we saw it with Kevin Knox and stuff, if you're worried that you can't play worried, you got to play, just play with a smile on your face. And I think every time he knows he blew a defensive assignment, oh shit, he's going to take me out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm going to go into a little speech right now about this confidence thing. And you guys should, and a lot of it, I mean, it's stuff that I already knew as an, as an athlete, a performer, a creator or whatever. Confidence is everything. It's you can be an overconfident person with no talent, and it's annoying, of course, but you can still, at least you have that. The thing is, you need talent, but if you're not a confident person, you're nowhere as well. You need to have confidence. And shooting, especially similar to baseball, hitting a baseball is one of the most difficult things to do in sports. If you are not confident when you're standing in that plate, I hear my neighbor again. If you're not confident when the ball is coming your way and you're standing out beyond that 3-point line and you're going to shoot, you're not going to make that bucket. You might make it by luck just because you threw it up there, but if you're not confident, you're not going to make buckets. And when you listen to Tim Legler, one of the best 3-point shooters ever in this game, talking to JJ Redick, also one of the best 3-point shooters in this game, they went into a whole discussion about confidence. It comes down to believing in yourself, but a lot of times that belief in yourself, there's a foundation because you have people who are around you that are supporting you and believing in you as well. So when you look at guys like Obi, remember Obi last season or Obi the first season? No confidence at all in those first 2.5 months, remember? And same thing with Quickley. Same thing with like all these guys. If you don't feel that your guys have your back and have confidence in you, man, the NBA is not the place to find your confidence on your own. It's just not. So you need a supportive environment. That's why franchises, like, even though right now they're not doing well, but like historically over time, San Antonio, they develop so many quality guys. They pick up guys off the scrap heap, Denny Green, Manu Ginobili. Like, they pick up these guys.
Keldon Johnson was in the G League.
Keldon Johnson. But they constantly nurture the confidence. And I will say there is one player that Thibs, to me, in my opinion, has been nurturing the confidence, and it's Deuce. He's always saying positive things about Deuce. Always, no matter, even when Deuce wasn't performing necessarily, wasn't hitting a shot, Thibs always believed in him, said glowing things about him, would send him to the Westchester to like at least get some burn and refine his game and to gain confidence. And he brought him back. He keeps believing in him. It's just, in terms of minutes and stuff, in Thibs' mind, there's just not enough minutes right now, which I disagree. But I think he should use them. But same thing with Quickley. The main primary reason that Thibs went from a 10-man rotation to a 9-man rotation, there was only one reason. It was to give IQ more time on the court so that he can rediscover his confidence. Because Thibs always believed in him. But the herky-jerky usage and then last year not starting him instead of Burks, like all this weird, odd stuff, and then bringing in Brunson, signing Brunson in the offseason over IQ. It sends a lot of negative messaging. But Thibs does believe in Quickley, always has. That's one thing. That's why I was always surprised that he didn't start him. But now you're seeing the rewards of it. He's putting him in important minutes. He's going with him sometimes. He's giving him the ball over Brunson sometimes.
Did it today in the fourth quarter.
He played the whole fourth quarter over Brunson. Confidence is key. It's primary, which is why I get upset with our fan base sometimes. Because sometimes I think we as fans, because we're so desperate, because we've been so, malnourished in terms of wins.
Yeah, I think for so many years, only three 500 seasons in the last 19 years. That's enough to give.
Exactly. It's a legitimate reason for us to feel this way. But at the same time, we have to be more aware as a fan base. We have an incredibly talented roster on this team, which is why I said from like day one this season, we underachieved last year. I'm not putting up with it this year. We should have had at least 40-something plus wins last season. This is weird going on here. But it comes down to confidence. Now, you could be sorry, Foxy. I'm almost done.
No worries.
Then I'd love to hear your response to this. When you're put in that environment with confidence, and if you don't deliver, that's a different story. It's a different story. But you need to be given enough time. And Thibs saw that IQ was suffering. There's no reason that a kid like him, who was a 39% three-point shooter in his rookie year, was it 30? I think it was 39% in his rookie year, and who could snap off 5-6 3-pointers in a row. There's no reason that guy couldn't replicate that every single year. Something was wrong, and it was his confidence. And he needed more time on the floor to regain that confidence. So that was the reason for the 9-man rotation. Now we're past that. We can adjust again, but that's another discussion. Foxy.
I think you were fantastic on that great hot take. Sometimes you got to take a step back, folks, and just think whether it's IQ. 2 years ago, he's hanging out in Kentucky. Now, a couple of years later, whether it's a LeBron or he's seeing these guys that he grew. Oh my God, I'm on the court. And then, like George said, it takes a little while for them to say, I'm confident. I believe in my talent. I belong here. And now you see it in his eyes, like, I belong here, man. And it's really important. And it's funny. I had this exact conversation with a friend of mine the other day. And he said to me, what do you think triggers Randle's bad behavior? And I said, besides exhaustion, lack of minutes management.
A lot of it is that.
I think that's the trigger with him, exhaustion. But I said, it's confidence. And I said, there's certain players that we've seen in history when the pressure's on, it's like, give me the ball, I'll make the shot. And I said, from a layman novice standpoint, looking at Randle, his eyes, and just, taking enough psychology classes in college and stuff like that, that I think he's afraid of failure, that he's afraid, like, what happens if I miss this? It's a totally different mentality that I think he lacks confidence sometimes, and it becomes his biggest enemy. That, the great ones say, I'm going to make the shot. And I think Randle sometimes is like, I'm afraid I'm going to miss it.
Look, that's what you just said. We've heard several players say it already, that they're afraid. Actually, Cam spoke about this. The fear of missing a shot, the repercussions of the fear of missing a shot is the last thing you want in a shooter's mind.
Yeah, you got to have a short memory, man.
The best shooters have a short memory.
Yep.
The best pitchers have a short memory. The best hitters have no memory. They just get up there, they see their ball, they hit it as hard as they can. I mean, the great hitters are a whole other level, but you cannot perform at this level in the NBA if you are not confident. It's just
The
a
mental
fact.
game, man. Yeah.
And Thibs rides a very thin line. I think often he crosses over it and he undermines players' confidence. But I must shout out his ability to try to readjust and try to inject players with confidence. Even Obi lately, he hasn't been pulling them immediately right after a mistake. He's letting them sit out there. We have a new version of Thibs. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why we're performing really well.
You have a super chat?
Yeah, we do. We have a super chat here. We got Jay. What's up, brother? Thank you so much. Jay, this is for you, Foxy. Mr. Fox. JD said on KFTV that you are a draft expert. Do we have hope if we get 11 to 14, still lottery, of getting an impact player in the rotation?
Well, thank you, Jay. First of all, appreciate the generosity, and thank you, JD, for the shout out. We put in a whole lot of work. I just finished my 80th player profile. So George and I will be doing draft shows, and you'll be seeing me talk a lot about it. But to answer your question, it's a great question. I don't think there's a player in that range where you'll see impact this season. I think there's a couple of players, and I've been talking for quite a few months about a player named Taylor Hendricks out of UCF, Central Florida, 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, shot 40% from three, rebound, shot blocker, uber athletic, that I think in 3 years, 2 to 3 years. And I thought it would be a great timeline that, as a wing and stuff like that, great feet to cover from 1 to 4. But I think there's really not a player. So if we got to pick this year in that range, Jay, I think probably the most prudent thing to do with the depth and youth that we have on this team is use that pick and probably maybe use a player like Obi and go after somebody like a Trey Murphy. Go after that 6'8" wing that we're looking that this team
in a trade. You talking about
in a trade our pick this year and go after, because I like to Jay's point. I don't think there's a player who's going to walk in. The only players, and especially with a Tibbs, he's 65. If you think about Brunson, he's really 2 years. He's here 2 more years from a timeline before he has a player option. So the only players that Tibbs would ever play is players that could come in on defense. So I talked about Derek Lively out of Duke, 7'7", 7'8" wingspan. So if Mitch, who's not here, we saw the impact of Walker Kessler, Jalen Duran, Mark Williams having an impact. But I just don't know of anybody in the range of 11, 14. And the truth of the matter, I don't know of anybody from 5 on. The Thompson twins can't shoot. Cam Whitmore has issues. That I'm not saying they're not going to be good players, but they won't have an impact, to your question, on the rotation next season. It'll take them a couple years to get it together, and I don't think the timeline for Tibbs and with a couple of the other players, he has to have somebody right off the bat that's going to be able to rock and roll.
There you go. Taylor Hendricks is right now, who I did scout him a little bit because you pointed him out. He's right now slotted to go 11th, which is the pick that we have.
Yeah.
According to Tankathon, Taylor Hendricks is slotted for the Knicks.
He's Jeremy Grant, folks, but 19 years old, not 29. And not with that contract.
Yeah. I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a great find. He would be an awesome addition to this Knicks team. I do think that the offseason is going to bring some, like it does for any team in this situation, difficult decisions. Where there's no way that we are not bringing Immanuel Quickley back unless we are trading him for somebody like Dame Lillard or SGA. Like, there's just no way. And there's no way OKC's trading SGA. So I just don't see that trade happening. I don't know about you, Foxy, but I don't see SGA. I don't see
it either.
Yeah. So we're talking about available superstars. Lee Escobedo who you guys know from KOT, who's been on the show with us, actually. He wrote an interesting article today. You guys should all check it out about Dame Lillard and possibly moving on, finally leaving the Portland Trailblazers this summer. He thinks that he gave them an opportunity this season, and they didn't do much with it, so that he will be looking for greener pastures. I don't necessarily, until I hear Dame say it, I'm not going to believe it, because he actually went out of his way just 2-3 weeks ago to basically make it seem like it's okay to not chase the rate. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But let's just play it out for fun's sake. What if Dame Lillard becomes available? What would it take to get him on the Knicks? If I were Portland, I'd ask for one name specifically, and it would be Immanuel Quickley. Would I include Immanuel Quickley in a trade for Dame Lillard? My answer is yes. I would include him. However, I'm not going to overpay in terms of draft picks and other additional elements, because I do believe that Immanuel Quickley is that special type of player that thrives in the modern NBA, who's got infinite range, who's got a mid-range game, the turnaround jump, and can finish at the hoop, and can play make, and defends at an incredibly high level. So what are we talking about here? So it's quick. I would trade Quickley and some picks and whatever else, but I would not open the cupboards and be like, okay, Portland, take whatever you want for the Dame Lillard trade. I don't think that if we weaken ourselves that much, that we'd be that much better of a team overall. Right now in the modern NBA, depth wins. Depth wins. Yes, you still need a superstar type of player, but at the end of the day, it's depth that will carry the day. Foxy?
No, I look at the game from a GM perspective, and roster construction is very important to me. I would never put a backcourt of Dame and Brunson as a backcourt. It would be a defensive liability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would maybe have gone Dame a year or so ago instead of Brunson, but I could not have them both back there. He's going to make $60 million, in a couple of years at an advanced age.
And there's the money. Yeah, I didn't even talk about the money.
Yeah, so his contract, I would not give up IQ at this stage. Like I said, SGA is young, 6'6". He is complimentary. Him next to a Brunson is a whole different thing. So Dame, phenomenal career, but I think it'd be poor roster construction. I thought it would be poor roster construction if we had Donovan next to Jalen Brunson, two diminutive 6'1" guys in a backcourt in the NBA. It just doesn't work.
The big difference between the two, Donovan is a lot younger.
Great contract.
Yeah, great, and a good contract compared to
Yeah, but they're both liabilities. So, defense wins championships. So you want to, the guys you want to bring up. That's why right now, if we can't get a star, let's try to get that 6'8" wing. So I've brought up whether Trey Murphy, I brought up that New Orleans, they have over 100 million just in CJ, Zion, and Ingram. And then you have Herb Jones, you have all these guys, so if we have the 11th pick and a few other things, even if we can't get trade, then get a Herb Jones. We need a lockdown 6'9" defender.
And to build on what Foxy's saying, the reason why these 6'8" guys, 6'9", 6'7" guys, 6'10" who are mobile are so valuable is because, and I talked about this a couple of post games ago, the amount of distance that the modern NBA player has to cover, it's almost doubled compared to how it was 30 years ago. I'm not even kidding. Think about it this way. there are several teams that play 5 out. And then they penetrate into the paint, and then they kick the ball out. So defenders collapse, so defenses collapse, and then they got to spray out. Think about all that extra distance. In the past, it was dunk, 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 dunk the ball into the guy, got dribbling down on the block, turns around, and then maybe the guy covering the guy on the wing slides over to kind of double team him, and then the guy forces a shot. There's no ball. It's not the way it is anymore. There's so much court to cover now. So if you have more court to cover, it makes it easier to cover that court with a bunch of guys that are 6'9" than a bunch of guys that are 6'4". It's just physics. It's just physicality.
Strides.
Yeah, there's always exceptions. Josh Hart is an exception. He has the speed to be able to recover and the instincts and the tenacity. But we're talking about generalities here. That's why a guy like Herb Jones thrives in the modern NBA. That's why a Trey Murphy can thrive in the modern NBA. That's why Kevin Durant thrived through this whole period, because he was so much bigger, faster, taller, and a better shooter than everybody else. It didn't matter. He was forcing everyone to chase him all around the court. And he's got the size and length to be able to recover and close out on those guys in turn much quicker than they close out on him. That's all the game is. See, if RJ was 6'8" and he played this same kind of game, he'd be so much better of a player just because of his size.
Or if he had a touch more athleticism.
Yes, and if he had that's the other balance of it. But he's like 6'6", so he's like kind of close. But yes, of course, definitely. Touch more athleticism would definitely help him. But that's why his size, his 6'6", 6'7" type size is more valuable than Grimes' 6'5", 6'4" type size. Even though Grimes is a better defender. But at the end of the day, it's about how many inches and feet you have to cover on the court. Because we're talking about seconds, 24-second clock. You get it over, it's about 18 seconds left. Within 18 seconds, there's going to be a shot that goes up. And that ball's going to be moving around. So you want to, that's why Masai built that Toronto team the way he built them. Now,
long and fast and athletic.
Exactly. But the thing is, he doesn't have 4 Siakams.
Or shooters, yeah.
Yeah, he has Scotty Barnes, who can't hit the side of a barn. So hit the side of a Barnes. Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. So we got another super chat. Oh, for our guy Jay. All right. He says, is Grady another Kispert? Kuzma an option for New York? I'll let you take this one.
Grady, I think, is much more athletic than Kispert. 6'8". He has a 7-foot wingspan. He averaged 1.4 steals, besides shooting 40% from 3, 46% on pull-ups, 85% from the line, like I said, 40% from 3. Absolutely some of the best shooting mechanics on Grady Dick that I've seen in a long time. High release point, lightning release also. He's great moving without the ball, so I love a high IQ player. He knows how to get into those shooting lanes. So I think he's a much better player than I still think, you saw it in Texas. There's dogs there, so they chased him off the 3-point line and they were face guarding him, and it impacted his game. But I think but he goes to the hole. I think he'll have a good career. And especially when, what George was saying, this is a league about shooting, especially the threes. He's going to be he's the best shooter in the draft. Nobody even close.
Yeah, he's the best shooter in the draft. Yeah.
Kuzma, I love Kuzma, man.
I think even though he did not have a good NCAA, I think Miller is right there with Grady in terms of shooting. I think Miller just had to deal with a lot more stuff, in terms of
well, they both played on stacked teams, but
they're from what I saw, they're the 2 best shooters.
Miller, he started off the season, he only shot 32% his last 17 games, but he's absolutely a stud. Don't be surprised if Brandon Miller goes 2 instead of 3. Everyone's been saying scoot, scoot, scoot. if somebody has a need for a 6'9" guard, so let's say Detroit picks second.
In
You know,
case anyone doesn't know, sorry, Foxy, cut
Yeah.
you off. Grady Dick is a player. He's played for Kansas. He was a freshman. It's just in case anyone doesn't know. But Grady Dick is the guy, and I think he is better than Kispert.
Absolutely.
Better shooter. Kuzma as an option for New York. That's for a whole other time to discuss. It's an interesting one. Depends on obviously what happens with Randle. But yeah, it's tricky because where's he gonna play? Is he gonna be in place of RJ? You seeing him as a small forward in place of RJ, or as in place of Randle as the power forward?
I would put him at the 3.
Yeah.
So he's long, he's big, he shoots the 3. Yeah. So, and also, he would be the 3-4 also. He could play either role.
Yeah. And I think the only way we can acquire him this offseason is like a sign and trade situation with RJ being the key piece going to Washington.
Yeah, it'd have to be after July 1st for the poison pill.
Yeah. Which I will say, I'm not excited about that idea, but I'm also not adverse to it. Like I would consider it as the time went on.
Yeah, but Jay, I think one of the things also is he's a CAA client, Kuzma.
Yeah.
So you never know when CAA is in the background what could happen. So that's a great thing, and thanks again for your generosity.
Yeah, and he came up with another super chat for us, Jay. How about Luka? He might be worth the chamber.
He's a superstar. You could take a team on his back. One thing for sure, Brunson wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, because he already knows the deal with him. Yeah,
they're friends. It'd be a lot of camaraderie.
I will say this in terms of Luka. I'll do a deeper dive on it. I resisted because there's been rumors put out there and stuff. Once we get past this season, I'll get into that because I do wholeheartedly believe that if healthy, Luka and Zion will, like, the next few
the face of the NBA.
The next few chips, if healthy, will go through one of those two guys. And the reason I say that is because, and interestingly, they're similar sized. They have totally different games, but they're similar sized. And they're in that size, that's 6'6", 6'7".
Linebackers.
They're right, exactly. I mean, Zion is still the largest player overall in the NBA, which is why he's hurt. His body has to
the physics thing.
Yeah, it's the physics thing. His body has to
tendons and ligaments have a trouble, and hammies have a trouble when you're 280 pounds and flying through the air.
They don't listen. Ligaments and hammies, yeah. But let's say they're healthy, both of them, and Luka's been healthy most of this time. I do believe until Victor Wembanyama proves to be whatever he's going to end up being, I just don't see any other young player being as dominant as Luka or Zion can be. So if you want to win a chip, like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, if those two guys are healthy, that chip's going to go through those two guys. So there is a legitimate argument for saying if you want to be a franchise that wins a chip, you need to go for one of those two guys. We'll look into it. We'll break it down. I would love to do it with you, Foxy. Right now is not the time, but in terms of your question, he might be worth the chamber. I think or the cupboard, the cabinet. He might be. He actually might be. The fact that Dallas hasn't been able to construct a winner around him is a negative on Dallas themselves, because you should have been able to do it. I would never have traded for Kyrie Irving. I think that was a stupid trade, in my opinion. I didn't come out and say it at the time, but I thought it was a stupid trade. Kyrie Irving got hot.
There's no guarantee he won't walk.
Kyrie Irving got hot for a couple of games at one time, and he won a chip. But other than that, you can't win a chip with Kyrie Irving. You can't.
Or can't have a happy locker room.
Or even have a happy life. Yeah. Foxy. The Knicks won.
I know, and I think there's another one from Jay.
We beat the fucking Heat. I love it.
Yeah. And like I said, it was a double whammy, folks, because it counts as 2 games. That's why we were down to 2. You know, we need a win and a loss equals up 2. So I think the magic number is 2 for us to clinch a playoff spot.
And the Nets won.
Yep.
So now they are firmly in 6th place with a 41-35 record. The Nets will not be able to catch us. This is great. We have 6 games left, but Friday is a big game. We're going to break down the Cavs game. And actually, thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for contributing your super chat. He's leading us there. What's going to be the Knicks clutch lineup versus the Cavs? This is a great question. It's a great question.
It is a great question.
Because Randle was very important in those wins versus the Cavs. How do you feel about this?
Well, I don't know if he's going to be there now. You know, we're all have
Let's
our finger.
assume he's not. Let's assume he's not.
So if he's not, I think it's going to be very similar to what we saw today. I think it's going to, I think it'll be Brunson, IQ, RJ, Josh Hart, and High Hart.
You think Thibs is going to start Obi?
I think it's all about matchups. If we're going against a team that doesn't have the length, that I think maybe he'll go with RJ at the 4, and like he did today. And if we need it, maybe he'll go with Obi. But I don't know about Obi if he'd ever feel comfortable with Obi in crunch time, or in as Jay's saying, the clutch or crunch time, the last 5 minutes of a game. I don't know if he'd go with Obi.
All right. So the first game against the Cavs, we lost 121-108. It was only like the 6th, 7th game of the season.
I think that's when he had like 5 threes in the first quarter. Donovan.
Yeah. Donovan went crazy. He lit us up for 38 points. And Wade also had a big game. 6 of 8 from the 3-point line. Wade hasn't been that kind of guy since then, but they also had Kevin Love at the time, which hurt us. That length, that's a big. It actually helped us a lot when Love went to the Heat, because on the Cavs he hurt us more the way they used him on the Cavs than the way they use him on the Heat, which is weird. You think Spoelstra would have just picked that page out of their playbook and just say, "Hey, let's use Love this way." They barely even utilized him in this game. But he was a big reason why we lost that one. The only game that we lost against the Cavs, we were leading that season series 2-1. We lost the very first game. And the Knicks were still trying to find themselves early. Remember, it was Brunson. It was only a 6th or 7th game. But in the second game, the Knicks won 92-81. They held the Cavs to the lowest point scoring of the season. And I think that's the lowest points we've held anybody this season. We disrupted but that game, Jared Allen did not play. So I'm running through this all. Then
that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Jared Allen is a very instrumental piece to that team. But in that game, Randle didn't have a big game either. He didn't have a big game in the first game, 18 points. Didn't have a big game in the second game. He was 1 of 7, even though we ended up winning the game. He was only 1 of 7. But that was a game where Brunson really delivered there. And we had a nice contribution from the bench. Quickley gave us 12 points. Hartenstein gave us 10. Obi gave us 5. So we had a nice contribution from the bench there in proportion. And RJ, he had a decent game, 8 rebounds, gave us 15 points. But the third game, which was on January 24th, we won it 105-103. That was a big, 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 big game, That game, Cleveland was fully healthy. And Jared Allen played. He was 12-17, 12 rebounds, 24 points. Darius Garland, 22 points himself. Donovan Mitchell, 24 points. But Donovan Mitchell needed 24 shot attempts to get those 24 points. The Knicks had, that was the game that Julius Randle went crazy. He shot 11 of 21, 8 of 12 from the three-point line, 36 points. And Brunson was 14 points. RJ gave us a decent game there as well, 16 points, 10 points from Grimes, 11 points from Toppin. Obi, actually, that's a game where our two power forwards gave us 47 points combined.
Yo.
So Obi did well in that last game. So which bodes well for Obi starting on Friday. It's going to be tricky. Now, again,
We may have to go with Obi when you have Evan Mobley.
We have to go with Obi. We have to go with Obi.
When you have Mobley and you have two 7-footers there, man.
Yeah, you have to go with him. But, oh, he was referring to the first round. Okay. Yeah. But we didn't
Jay.
have Josh Hart yet. And Josh Hart is going to help us a lot against Garland and Mitchell. He's going to really help us defending them. So it's
Brunson cooked Mitchell in last year's playoffs.
And Brunson cooked Mitchell in last year's playoffs. Yeah. So unless it's a fracture on the ankle,
David L. Shout out to David L. He just said it's a mild sprain day to day for Randle.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank God.
Who's David L?
He's
David L. Here in the chat.
Yeah, in the chat.
You were talking about a tweet. Oh, awesome. That's great news.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Okay, so there we go. That changes a lot. But let's say, so Friday's game is really important because you want to send a message. Here's the beauty. This is my take on now how the landscape has changed without Randle in there. So no Randle Friday could actually work to our benefit when it comes to the playoffs, because the Cavs don't get a look at Randle for one last time. And now we're going to throw at them a totally different type of approach that if Randle becomes healthy, which we hope it looks like he will in time for the playoffs, that they're going to see in the playoffs. So they're going to see a team on Friday that they're not going to see in the playoffs. So we're going to throw them off. But the beauty is that we can prepare ourselves to attack Cleveland in a way that we can still replicate in the playoffs, but with a better player at the 4 spot. So it's actually not necessarily a terrible situation for the Knicks because we won tonight. If we had lost tonight, it'd be totally different. We can afford to lose Friday. But if we play them tight, play them strong, and we still lose, it's kind of a mental win for the Knicks because we'll be doing it without Randle. And
you said it before, the confidence thing. So if we just beat Miami, I think they're going to say, hey, we could beat Cleveland too, man.
And you know what? That's what happens with young guys. Young guys.
It's just stupid to realize we can't beat them.
Yeah, exactly. They're too young. They don't know they can lose. They're like, hey, we can take care of it. We can do this. And they can. That's the beauty. We have the quality top to bottom on this roster to beat any team any night. So this Friday game is going to tell us a lot. Tell us a lot.
We need Mitch to play.
Mitch to play big?
To play big, meaning we need him.
All our bigs. We need all our bigs to play big that game. We might even see Sims. We might even see some Sims minutes.
Yeah, if Randle's not out there, anything's possible. That's for sure.
Yeah, because Sims. These guys, they put 2 7-footers out on the court a lot of the time together.
All the time.
Yeah, pretty much all the time. So we're probably gonna need to lean into some Sims minutes. But that's why I don't think we're gonna see much RJ at the 4 against Cleveland because of that.
Yeah, he has enough trouble getting his shot off against regular guys.
Yeah,
he'd have a lot of issues right there.
Foxy, the Knicks are the 5th seed.
Yo, I just want us to lock down that thing.
Are the 5th seed. And
dangerous team.
They are a dangerous team. The Knicks have one. Wait. Oh, wait. Where am I looking at? Here. The Knicks have. Oh, look at that offense. The Knicks have the 5th best offense in the entire Eastern Conference.
No, man, it's been crazy. I just want that that defensive rating and defensive effective the defensive or opposition's effective field goal percentage to go down. So let's just tighten up that defense the last few games and get into that. That's why I was like, let's give Deuce a couple of minutes. I think we need Deuce a few minutes in every game.
Oh, totally. Before the recent game against the was it against the the Timberwolves? God, that game hurt us. But wait, hold on. Let me find this thing.
Torian freaking Prince.
Yeah, I know. There's always some.
Yeah, it's like I was saying tonight. Don't make Gabe Vincent, today's Torian Prince.
The 3 games before the victory over the Houston Rockets, the Knicks were the worst last in opponent field goal percentage, 29th in opponent points scored, 30th last in 3-point percentage. But we took care of business against the Rockets. Well, that's not saying much because the Rockets suck.
It was not saying much, man. I sent you a thing. I think the funniest stat that I came across was the starting lineup of San Diego State, who's playing in the Final Four, folks, are older than the starting lineup of the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, the San Diego. Yeah, I ran into somebody today as I was walking to the liquor store, and they were like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like a fan of the Knicks-Verse, and he was a big San Diego State fan. He went to San Diego State. He was like, "Oh man, my team." I said, "Yeah, you got an old team, man. That team is older than like half the squads in the
NBA." Yeah, no doubt.
I can see them getting to the finals.
Yeah, shot blockers, and their best player Bradley hasn't really played that well. So they very good defensive team.
Yeah. Mobley is a problem. He'll definitely be something that the Knicks are going to have to contend with. As Engrill says, Engrill one. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Just jumped. Sorry. He says Mobley can guard RJ, and Mobley's a stud and can kill Randle if healthy. But at the same time, I think Randle's physicality is a problem for Mobley.
Exactly. You nailed it.
So I think that kind of like washes that out. I think we match up really well with the Cavs.
Yeah, you nailed it. For him, you don't want to get Randle doesn't want to give Mobley space because that's where that 7'4" a wingspan and everything takes. But if he puts his body on him, then it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. Well, Foxy and I, we're going to find a good time. We could have done it earlier, but we kind of waited on it. But we'll do our draft, obviously our draft videos coming up. But it's probably going to be at this point after the playoffs. At this point, just to we want to keep the tone, want to keep the messaging optimistic. And I don't know where you're at with this, Foxy. Of course, we need Randle. We do
need Randle. Absolutely need Randle.
We need Randle. We need Randle to do anything run. But in a weird way, this little, if it's a mild ankle sprain, like the David L. reported, which I really hope it is. If it's a mild one, it'll force him to rest, and he needed it. If there's one player
he looked
on
exhausted.
This roster, he said it himself.
He looked exhausted before he got injured tonight. There was a couple things where he just looked like he was beat up. I mean, he's exhausted. So like you said, sometimes the old saying, shit happens for a reason. Maybe he'll get a few days to just, rest up. And
he's going to rest the rest of the season.
Yeah, I hope so.
I could see Thibs, the way he is bringing a Randle back.
Not with an ankle. That's a chronic injury, man.
You never know. With Thibs is weird. Yeah. But
I don't mind the last game because you want somebody to maybe get a little rhythm before you get into the playoffs.
That's what I could see. The last game. I just don't see the Cleveland Cavaliers being able to match what the Knicks can do. I just don't. I know they got Donovan Mitchell and they got Darius Garland and they got these great defenders and all that stuff, but the Knicks have this dog mentality now that has come in. It's almost like a vaccine that Josh Hart has given them. And then you got Quickley peaking. You got Brunson, who can get a bucket when he's healthy 100% anytime he wants. You got RJ, who can literally be a total trash for 3 quarters and then like give you 15 points in the 4th quarter. He's that kind of mentality. You know, he doesn't disappear for a whole game. I love that. Randle.
I think Grimes is up by 40% now from 3.
Grimes is woken up. We got Mitch, who's got, you know, a bone to pick with the world, and I love that. We got Isaiah Hartenstein, who now seems to be healthy. He's finally doing some playmaking. We got Obi, who's actually playing for a contract himself. There's so many aspects to this team that are trending in the positive direction. I just don't see the Cleveland Cavaliers being able to beat this team in a 7-game series.
Hey, I love, you're out in LA. I'd love the script to just go like the Knicks who missed out on Donovan Mitchell and, as I think Jay said, emptying the chamber or the cupboard to get him. Now they're only like a couple of games better without us giving up one thing, and then we beat him in first round of the playoff series. That would be comeuppance. That would be like, yo, we didn't go for Donovan, we beat his ass in the playoffs. That is sweet.
Yep. And just to kind of support this enthusiasm that we're feeling about the team, the national media and the national media is composed of individual analysts. They see it. JJ Redick sees it. Tim Legler sees it. Kendrick Perkins sees it. They see that the way that the Knicks are beating other teams is something to be taken seriously. They know the Knicks are a threat. And if we get lucky enough to capture a slightly wounded Bucks team at the time, I know I got a lot of grief last time when I said this because I don't see us beating the Bucks in any other way. They have to be compromised in some way. They have to lose at least one of those guys that they got right now. If full strength, both teams are full strength, we're going to lose to the Bucks. But I don't feel that about any other team, even the Sixers, even the Celtics. Full strength, the New York Knicks can beat the Boston Celtics, can beat the Philadelphia 76ers, can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, can beat any other team in the NBA except for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. Shout out to Ian Begley. He had a really good tweet a week ago where his sources, he talked to someone who was talking about the league, and person said, we don't want to face the Knicks, man. They're really physical. And our concern is even if we get past them, we won't win the next series because they beat the hell out of us.
Exactly.
So that physicality, so around the league, people are saying, man, we don't want to go through New York, man. We don't want to play those guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your grandfather's New York Knicks. Now with Hart and Josh Hart and all these other guys, man.
Yep.
That's second team, man. There's like warriors.
And the added benefit of having young guys that haven't been the advantage of having young guys that are quality is that there's a potential that they will pop when the lights are brightest. We're seeing it with Quickley. For all we know, Quickley fucking averages 30 points in an entire series against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It could happen, folks. It could happen. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah. Every year, something like that happens. Every year in the playoffs, there's some young guys that just pop out of nowhere and they just show you how incredible they actually are. When the stakes are at their highest, they rise to the occasion. The cool thing about the Knicks is we have several guys like that. We have Grimes, IQ, I mean, I would put Brunson as young. What Brunson did last season in the playoffs is what these guys can do this season, and Brunson can replicate that as well. Even RJ himself, I could see him going off for 40 in a playoff game. We have at least 5 guys who can give you 30 points on any given night on this roster. That is dangerous. That's why Cleveland doesn't want to play the Knicks.
Yeah. And if RJ can go from 33% up to, shoot into the playoffs, just league average.
Yeah. I could easily see him shoot 45% for a series. He's that kind of weird player.
Absolutely.
He gets locked in because he's so confident as a person. He gets locked in. He gets his mechanics just down just right. Boom, 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 boom. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
In a perfect world, we want him to get most of his points going into the paint. That's where he's elite, and have him maybe, take about 5 threes in the game. And then if he, like George said, if he can make 2, 3 of those 5, and then get all, using that 6'6" and that strength as a mismatch, getting to the hole. He's elite, folks. If you look at his numbers, and again, cleaning the glass, the amount of fouls that he gets while shooting, he's in the top, he's in the top, an elite player.
Yeah.
So
he's in the top 10% of drawing fouls on drives to the hoop.
Yeah. And the only thing we'll ask next year that we see with Jalen Brunson is he's not elite in and ones. And ones mean a lot. And he has the size and this, that's an area that I think he could absolutely grow more and ones in his future.
Yeah. Wait, Lex just puts this. He says, Cavs, Wizards, Pacers, Pelicans, Pacers. We can still possibly get a 49 burger. It is possible. I could see us winning out the rest of the season, especially with Tibbs as your coach.
But also, Lex, the exciting thing that George was saying is, imagine us getting a 49 burger, but not with the cast of characters that we were expecting. All these other guys getting burned and everyone contributing. So now we're even more dangerous because now we have even more depth.
Exactly.
And people believe, again, getting back to that confidence thing, now everyone believes that they're a valuable part of this team. They're all invested.
That's why this win is so important and so promising for the future. Think about it this way. The Knicks went into this game with Brunson and Randle starting. Brunson was nowhere near his regular self, and Randle left just before the second half, the first half ended. And the Knicks were able to beat a team that we lost to.
The team that needed to win.
And a team that desperately needed that victory. They desperately needed this win. And we beat them. We didn't just beat them. We really beat them at that end. They were hanging around in that fourth quarter, but by the end, whatever, those last 5 minutes,
took their heart away, man.
when the lead was 10 points or whatever, we didn't give them a chance. There was no hope. We literally held their heart and just squeezed it pretty tight and made it difficult for them to breathe and even exist. We did that with the other guys. We did it with the others.
Huge.
Huge win. Huge win. All right, man. We still got over 100 in the chat. This has been awesome. I really appreciate all you guys showing up to celebrate this tremendous win. This was a big, big win. I know that we've had this might be in the top 3 of the biggest wins of the season. I definitely still think that Nuggets win is still a humongous win. What else what would you put in your top 5 of biggest wins this season, Foxy?
You just nailed that Nuggets win, man. That really impressed me that we beat that team. And that win.
That was a tremendous win. There's been so many, sometimes you forget.
Beating Boston, beating Boston in double overtime.
Boston was a monster win.
Yeah. And also that game we only had 18 assists with 2 overtimes.
Let's see here. What are we at? Well, the win against the Heat, the previous win that we had against the Heat was a pretty big win on March 29th.
Was that when he hit the shot, Randall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big
The
big
shot heard around the world.
yeah. Oh no, that was today. I'm talking about today. No, but the other win
Oh.
against that was on March. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's not looking at the wrong timing here. But yeah, that was a huge win against the Heat themselves when Randle hit that shot. That was insane.
That was more of a heave, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a monster one. Yeah, we've had a lot of big wins this year, but this is definitely in the top 3, I would say.
Yeah.
Because of also the significance and how we did it. We did it without Brunson giving us a huge game where he does his like amazing theatrics and he's able to like break down defenses and get us shots that most people could never even get. No, we didn't do it that way. We did it by being tough and IQ leading the way. We held these guys to 92 points.
I got a favor, Jalen Brunson. If you're listening to the show, I have a favor. Please don't take a charge for the rest of this season. You can take him in the playoffs, but for the last 6 games, no charges, please.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Last 6 games, just take it easy. I actually, you know what? In some way, I mean, maybe we should even rest Brunson on Friday.
What he did today, like you said, kudos and flowers to Tibbs, man. He should just go be organic and get him to get the rust off for the last few games, get him going, and where he feels good, his rhythm's there, and he's all ready for the playoffs. But where you're not playing him 30 minutes was perfect tonight. Let's do that for the next few games, man.
Yeah. I mean, the minutes management matters. Like I heard, I can't remember what it was, because I listened to a bunch of different things today. But at one point, someone said that the Heat in managing Butler's minutes, that Spoelstra and the crew there realized that if they keep Jimmy Butler's minutes between 32 and 35 minutes or under 35 minutes, that's the optimal. And that's how I feel about Randle. When Randle gets to 36 minutes and he does that like 5-6 games in a row, it wears him down. And I think that's what we saw, that mental collapse that he had recently. I know it's hard for us to imagine that that's really a thing for professional athletes, but this game is different than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They cover much more distance. The travel is intense. The social media aspect of like having to deal with social media itself, the interviews, there's a lot more demanding on the players nowadays.
Yeah, but you did some brilliant analysis in one of your shows. Is it goes beyond that? It's playing Randle a whole third quarter. So that whole distribution, you want to make sure you have something left for the last 5 minutes of a game. So if you're playing Randle that whole third quarter, the minutes, playing 36 minutes is not the same 36 minutes if you're playing somebody the whole 12 minutes of a third quarter.
Exactly. Oh, man. All right. I think we're going to shut it down. This has been fantastic. It's getting close to 1 a.m. on the East Coast. Foxy, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Yeah, I got my boy sleeping right next to me.
Is he? Is he down there?
The whole show.
Thank you, Miles, for co-hosting. Shout out to David L. Anna Grill 1, Lex the Destroyer, the best mod around. Adrian Sean Dixon. We got Eric V. Anyone you want to shout out specifically, Foxy?
Yeah, G Money, Gideon. Hope all is well. Thanks for the feedback. Hope all is well with you and your family.
Awesome. And let's see, who else have we got here? And Jay, of course, thank you so much for your contributions.
Jay, thank you for those questions.
We got Manchild. What's up? What's the status on Randle's injury? They said it was a mild sprain. Let's hope that is true. He's a tough guy. I feel like he is going to bounce back. He may not be the guy that we've been seeing, but then at the same time, maybe the rest might help. He's definitely not going to play Friday.
Hopefully he's hanging out in Westchester with bags of frozen vegetables on that ankle.
Ice that thing.
Totally.
So we got Stanley Mann. Thank you so much. Francisco Carrillo. What's up? Let's Let's see. Obi, you belong. That's right. Obi, you do belong.
Arnold Cruz, he's in Miami. Shout out to you, Arnold.
Shout out to Arnold. Viva tu vida para ti. Thank you so much for showing up.
And Jay, like George said, stay tuned. And after the playoffs and stuff, some great draft shows coming up.
Yes, we'll get into it. And we'll also have a better read once the season ends on what draft picks we actually have. This is why I haven't really invested any airtime in actually talking about it, because we don't know. Like last season, by this point, we already knew. Like once the All-Star game came, we already knew what we were going to have, or at least had a read. But tonight, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to have the 11th pick, 12th pick, 15th. Like, we don't know. Or not a pick at all. We may not even have a pick if Dallas keeps spiraling downward. So we'll keep an eye
and if
on
we
that.
have another pick like Trevor Keels, that's like not having a pick at all again.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That was Trevor Keels. Oh, man. I can't stop smiling, Foxy. This is such a great win.
Me too. And like I said, we're hoping for Randle, but sometimes, like we said, other things, when one thing happens, other opportunities, in Japan, the symbol for crisis and opportunity are the same sign. So I love us taking advantage of this opportunity, other players to step up. And like we're saying, we really want, this is a great opportunity from RJ to go to Star J. He has Ollie with Randle and everything. Come on, RJ. Forget about the past season and all that stuff. It's a new season coming up.
Beautifully said.
Take it home for us.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And shout out to Arnold Cruz, who's in Miami. Fans are here. Here are quiet. Yes, good. Most of my family still lives in Miami, and so this is a very sweet victory. Very interesting thing that you pointed out about RJ. The playoffs. I mean, athleticism does matter. Of course it does. But the game slows down. And it becomes a half-court battle. And a lot of it is just brute strength. And that's something that RG has a lot of. He can dominate guards that are covering him. Yeah. So this is going to be very different than the RJ we saw 2 seasons ago in the playoffs, where there was no plays called for him. There was no scheme at all. There was not even, he was just there. It was just there because we had a thin team. He was just out there. But this season, I could see him being a very instrumental player in those playoffs, especially when you think about who's going to guard him. Isaac Okura. Isaac Okura is a decent defender, but he doesn't have the size to deal with RJ. So that means that the bigs are going to have to rotate over when RJ's driving into the paint. And the beauty is RJ now has Grimes out there, has Brunson out there, has Randle out there. If
also what we've seen in the past, he's one of the only one that does it. He also has Mitch. RJ is one of the few guys that gives those lobs. So like George was saying, if those guys converge like that, put that small on Mitch. That's all he's been asking. Make me part of this offense a little. So as long as he doesn't bring his Nerlens hands, we're good.
Beautiful. I want to say it. The first play in the playoffs versus the Cavs is going to be a pick and roll with RJ and Mitch at the top of the
rolling to the for
a nice
jam.
Roll and a beautiful alley-oop jam for Mitch. That will be the first play. I would love to see that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. Foxy, you want to shout out the chat and tell them where they can find you and everything?
Yeah, every Sunday around 6 this week. It'll probably be around 4 because the Knicks are playing at 6 this week. But SportsVibesTV. I'm on Twitter at Fox Sports Talk. So hey, thank you, Taka, for making that he's from Japan, and that was cool that I made the reference.
Taka, what's up, brother?
So I was very blessed in my life. I traveled the world for business, so I spent a lot of my life in, we called it APAC, Asian Pacific, but in Korea and China and Japan and Philippines and Taiwan and everywhere you could think of around there. So I've been very blessed. But yeah, so on Sundays at 6 with my partner Keese, and like we said, you'll be seeing George and I in the near future doing our draft shows.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll probably be on some of those shows with you in Keys
Absolutely.
as we move forward. And we might do like a big roundtable show. We're going to get everyone together, as many people as we can get together. Once the season ends, before the playoffs begin, we'll do a big blowout show. Maybe even with the Nick of Time show guys, and with Keith and you, we'll get everyone together. We'll just like hammer it out. It'd be a great little roundtable.
It'll be like the mafia meeting in the Catskills.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like that.
I'll be Barzini.
Barzini. Or in that hotel. What was that hotel in Godfather 3? No, let's not have it ending like that. All right, man. Yeah, we're planning something like that, a big show like that to kick off the playoffs. But I will say this: on the night that the Knicks clinch a playoff berth, we'll be going live again to celebrate. Because
facts.
Two out of the last 3 years to go to the playoffs, that's a great achievement for this team after what we've been through.
Yeah, so Tibbs 2 out of 3 years to make playoffs, and only 3 times in 50 years before that.
That's
3 years and 19 years before that.
That's right.
3 times in 19 years. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is what is that bum doing there? What is that? What up, man? Hey, Adrian Reality. Adrian Reality just joined the show.
I think he's calling me the bum. Won't be the first time.
Where's my apology, he says.
I don't know what he's talking about, but
I don't know either. But I'll find out. But man, I'm so proud of this team. I'm almost at a loss for words. They have delivered on my highest expectations. I predicted 47 wins, and we're on track for that. We just got our 44th win tonight, and I believe that we will get the 47 wins. However, after that, it's difficult with Randle being out, but let's hope for the best. Let's hope for a speedy recovery for his ankle. Man, we need him.
No doubt.
I don't know if you saw the previous post game where I talked about, like, you get Brunson's A game and Randle's B game. We don't necessarily beat the Cavs, but if you get Randle's A game and Brunson's B game, we could still beat the Cavs. But without Randle at all, it gets tricky.
2010 is hard to replace.
Yeah.
So we just want the 2010 2. We don't want meaning 2 turnovers. We don't want the 2010 5.
Exactly. Lex is looking for 49. Let's go. Let's get 49 wins. Let's do it. All
Thanks
right.
again, Lex.
Yeah. Thanks, Lex. Thanks so much for holding it down. Really appreciate it. You're the best mod around. No doubt. The best. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button. Share this video. Share whatever videos you want. Take clips of this. Share it. Whatever it is. The Knicks are for real. No team should take this team lightly. Even the Bucks cannot take this team lightly, even though they match up really well against us. We have battled them very well every time we've played. And we even took care of them last season. So this is a dangerous team. And I think it's what makes the losses hurt so much more. Because we know that they're good. So when we lose these like stupid games that we've lost recently, it annoys us. It makes us doubt. But don't doubt. Tonight was the night that proved that this team is for real, and this team could go deep in the playoffs, and the NBA knows it. Thank you so much for watching this. My name is George. This is Foxy. Right there. Follow him, best draft analyst around, and we will see you around.